Hey everyone, my name is Naitik and I'm the founder of nextbillion.org. I'm 22 years old and I started this 2 years ago when I was in university. What nextbillion.org does is we're the only and largest talent pool of talented people with disabilities in tech, and we connect them to inclusive employers in the industry. As a couple of the talks before me have shared, I wanted to talk about the umbrella term as disability and what that includes. The word disability includes physical challenges, mental health challenges, neurological disorders, chronic illnesses, and other disabilities that may not fit that bucket. Why should we care about this? Well, when we are talking about diversity in tech, people with disabilities comprise about 20% of the population, and they are twice as likely to be unemployed in US and Canada. A lot of the times when we're speaking of diversity in tech, especially with some of the work that's happening in the industry, we tend to not include disability as part of the conversation, or it usually gets the least attention. And so I wanted to make this talk specifically I know there's like a lot of data around it, but I want to share real stories of people with disabilities that have reached out to our organization, that we worked with, that we've mentored and supported. And out of 300 plus people, I've borrowed a few snippets. I've anonymized stories of the people that have come to us, and I want to share these because data is important, but it's also important to know that these are friends and family and people all around you every day. And because of the stigma, it's incredibly challenging to be able to talk about it in a public platform. It's going to be, I was told as a speaker to go deep and be quick, so we're going to get right into it. It's really difficult for me to also read this as we speak, but believe me, we'll end on a positive note. So the first story that I want to share is from a computer science student who has Crohn's disease, and he's from California. Quote, "College is proven to be a stressful environment with a chronic illness. Unlike more visible disabilities, it is impossible to explain to my peers and often my friends why I can't go out with them, why I have to take constant provisions to look after my health, and why I have to plan my day to ensure I don't overstress my body. I'm trying hard to set myself up well for life after college, but it's hard to prioritize with little advising and very few people who understand my situation." The next one is from a recent tech graduate who is hard of hearing and is from Canada. "The interviewers often have difficulty understanding my disability, so they are unable to provide me with accommodation during interviews. When I disclose my disability during an interview, I immediately see the disappointment on the face of the interviewers. This tells me that employers don't want to hire individuals with a disability. I've applied to over 200 jobs in the past year." The next one is a product manager with ADHD and visual perception disorder from Toronto, Ontario. Quote, "I am constantly reminded that there are things that I'm just really, really good at and things that I'm terrible at. People are surprised at how slow I can be at computer science, and it phases me. I doubt myself. Sometimes I wonder if it really is worth it to work so hard and only be called an average developer because of the way my brain works. I don't ask for what I deserve. A part of me sometimes thinks that there's some defect, and so I'm less valuable and worthy. I tolerate more beep than I should." This one's from a computer science and economics major with a physical disability and hails from Nigeria. Quote, "My disability has prevented employers from giving me opportunities even when I have the ability and the zeal to perform. An instance is a job that I got some time ago. From my very first day on the job, the HR manager concluded that I was never going to be able to perform. I was victimized to a point where I had to resign." This one's from a graduate who's working in the edtech space and has depression, bipolar disorder, and PTSD. Quote, bipolar at its worst has led me to unhealthy states where I don't sleep for an entire week, leading to a point of depletion and exhaustion. However, at its best, mania has given me a heightened sense of awareness, zest, and hunger for life. Mania can feel like a superpower, as Jess mentioned earlier, and over the years, I have learned to channel mania into sports and entrepreneurship. I'm learning to discipline myself and harness that energy into creating great companies that impact the world. This is the last one. So this is from an individual who has processing disabilities. Quote, I struggle because I'm hidden. I struggle because I myself do not understand what is against me. I struggle because I miss out. I struggle because people do not understand. I struggle because friends tell me that I don't really have a disability. I struggle because I have been reprimanded for existing. I struggle because I must act like I don't. How do I explain my disability? How do I reconcile when I mess up because of my disability, and how can I forgive myself for being as I am? How can I be professional when my disability is seen against me the entire way? So these were a few stories from the people and students with disabilities in tech that we've worked with over the past year or two. And I wanted to end with the story of my co-founder. His name is Karthik, and Karthik, when we first met at Microsoft, we were both doing an internship. He shared that when he's born blind, and when he was, after 12th grade, he applied to the top tech university in India, and he was denied a chance to even give entrance exams just because of his disability. They weren't willing to accommodate for him. But from there on, he found a personal mentor and ended up applying abroad. Karthik got through to Stanford on a full scholarship. He and I graduated at the same time. He studied computer science and machine learning and AI. He went back to the university that said no and helped them change their laws so that they accept students that are visually impaired, and became the first student in India to pursue and be a computer science engineer after 12th grade. Karthik and I met in my second year at university, and I questioned who else faces such challenges. Hiring people with disabilities is proven to be an advantage. They're twice as likely to be unemployed, but at the same time, they have a 20 to 30% higher rate of retention and lower turnover because they value the jobs that they get and they are more loyal towards the companies. It takes less than $500 to accommodate people with disabilities at your workplace. 60% of accommodations actually don't require any money at all. And now there's governments, like in the US, there's a 12% goal that companies which are doing business with the government, they have to have 12% of their workforce as people with disabilities. There's also tax benefits that help businesses hire people with disabilities. There's 3 takeaways that I would like to share from this talk, and the whole reason that I'm here is I want disability to be a part of our conversation. Change starts with recognizing that we have a problem, and at this point in the industry, I don't see that happening. But as a result of this conference, I would hope that a lot of you go back to your teams, bring it up. When you talk about diversity, we're not only talking about one certain underrepresented group. As was spoken about in the panel earlier, intersectionality, knowing that there's other underrepresented groups that may not have been looked at, and acknowledging that we need to do better to support them. It's not difficult to support this community because disability is a stigmatized topic. There's a lot of question marks that employers have, but when you do break it down, there's not a lot of challenges when it comes to hiring people with disabilities. And the last one is, don't just say, if you disclose a disability, we're willing to provide accommodations. That's legal speak. Say that we want to hire people with disabilities, we're willing to do as much as we can to accommodate you, and we want to hire you. Our vision is to build the largest community of people with disabilities in tech. We're currently hiring pilots with Fortune 500 companies, and I would love to talk to anyone that's interested in working with us. That's my email, and you can get in touch. Thank you so much.